Welcome. Thank you for coming to our panel. It's a real treat to, this is the second year we've done Women of the Hollywood Arts Department panel. Just a little bit about us. I'm a member, we're all members of the Art Directors Guild. It's an organization of the visual crafts for art departments for film and television. It's established in 1937. It represents over 3,000 members that work in the world of film and television. The talented, dedicated professional artists of the Art Directors Guild design the look for film, TV, streaming services. You've seen our work every day, especially with COVID. Everyone's staying home. I'm sure that we provided a lot of solace for you. If you have any specific questions about the Art Directors Guild, like how to join, you can visit our booth at 1500 and talk to Andy Stummy. He's our field rep who's down there. We're also doing giveaways and raffles and stuff, so feel free to stop by our booth. And just get started with the panel. Introduce everyone. If you want to go down the row real quick, just say your name and your job title.
Hi, first of all, I'm very excited to be here, so thank you all for coming. This is really awesome. My name is Samantha Avila. I'm an art director.
Hi guys, I'm Shamim Seifzadeh. I'm a set designer.
Hi everyone, my name's Tina Charad and I'm a graphic designer.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Alexia and I'm a storyboard artist.
And I'm Lauren Polizzi, art director and set designer.
Okay, so there's a number of people on our panel. This is their very first con ever. Very excited to be here. So I'm going to start out with a question that's just to break the ice, get everyone a little bit comfortable. Okay, so three-parter. What was your very first job ever tax-paying job? Where did you start, little baby, fresh out of high school? What was the show that got you into the union, and what are you working on now? If you're allowed to say, I know some people aren't allowed to say. Yeah, go, Sam, down the line.
I guess, my first job in high school, I was a scare actor at an amusement park. I played a zombie. I thought it was pretty good. It was really awesome. And then first job in the industry was on Dinner for Schmucks as a PA with Lauren. So yeah, that was my first one. And then I'm working right now, we finished Guardians of the Galaxy 3 earlier this year. Thanks. And I'm working with Francis Ford Coppola's on his next film, Megalopolis.
Shamim?
Yeah, so I moved to the US when I was 21 years old. My first job was at Sears Auto Center, where I was convincing people to buy Yokohama tires instead of Michelin with a very broken English. After that, my first job into the union was, I had worked with the production designer as a PA and for a little bit, and I was drawing stuff on the side for him, so he got me into the union as a set designer on Queen of the South, and then we went to Dallas, and that was my first one. Right now, I'm art directing on a film on a Netflix film, and we're just making kind of badass robots. And we'll see how that goes.
I'm trying to remember my first job. I probably waitress part-time, but I started in advertising and branding before moving into film. So that was probably my first job. And then the job, as you can hear, I'm a foreigner. So I only came here about 10 years ago and had to get in the union, and that film was Transcendence. I'm sure you've all seen it. And now I'm working on a Netflix animation. I'm doing my first animation, which is a lot of fun.
So, first job was Best Buy computers. Basically installing Microsoft Word on probably your grandparents' computer. I want to say my first film job just because it was Hidden Figures. And yeah, that was my first PA job. My first job in the union, is I actually got a union recently, even though I've been working. But it was for an A24 movie called The Inspection. Director is Elegance Bratton. And what are we doing now? I finished up on Wakanda Forever, so I'm doing promo for that. And then a Paramount film called The Finest Kind is gonna be cool.
My exciting first job was wrapping Christmas presents at Bullock's department store. I'm a Bullock's fan down there at the end. What was the second part? Oh, what got me in the union was a while ago. It was a TV show called Falcon Crest. Way back when. It's been at it a while. Yes, been at it a while. And let's see, a recent film, I worked on Top Gun, which was a lot of fun. Very exciting, very exciting. And on Monday, I start the sequel to Joker.
So I know the people who come to our panel, just having done this, are equal parts fans of our work and also people who want to do our job, who are interested in doing our job. And so I know when I talk to people about like what I do, I usually get like, oh, that's so cool, you get paid to make art. But I gotta tell you, what I do is not art. Like, we do creativity on a deadline and a budget. Like art, I feel, is more self-fulfilling, and this is a skill. It's a skill almost anyone can learn if you're driven enough and you know, make the right contacts. And you know, that being said, just another one for the panel. What does a typical day, since a lot of people don't know what exactly it is that we do, what's a typical day look like for you? And like, what's a must-have skill that you would tell anyone who wants to get into what we do, that's something that you use every day?
Patience.
Yeah.
Patience. That's so true, actually. Well, yeah, in terms of talking about the skill sets, I would say communication, patience, kindness. And I know those don't seem like skills, but 100% I've had to try and hone them over the years. And the different types of communication. So like sometimes I don't say the right words or I can't think of the words, so I sketch. And like that's a skill I use every day. Or Photoshop, like whatever I can do to help get my idea across. For me, personally, that's not everyone, but and then a typical day, for an art director, it totally varies. Like there's, I guess I'll give some examples. So I think it was if you've seen Spider-Man, the last one, the Sanctum Foyer, there was a day where shooting usually starts around 8 a.m. So that means construction is already working on another set. They were doing the Sanctum basement, which was also my set. So I get in at 6 in the morning and I talk to construction and I just check in, make sure everything's going well. I want to make sure I leave notes for set designers. Well, that day was also the Sanctum Foyer, and I really hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but they had originally planned a changeover, so meaning there was the scene where they come in and it was all filled with snow. And then when you next see it with Ned and MJ, half the snow is gone. So we were supposed to be given a night to get rid of all of the snow, which was salt. A lot of it was salt. And I was checking in with the first AD, which is the assistant director, and just saying, hey, when are we going to be able to change over? And then right about an hour before lunchtime, he's like, how quickly can you get this done? And I was like, how much time do I have? He's like, an hour. No. So part of the communication comes in is I immediately call my bosses, let them know what's going on. I call the construction coordinator, and I'm like, get everyone down here. And then the PAs jumped in and helped, like everybody jumped in and helped, and so that's a crazy day. And then, and it's days like that where you have to think on your feet and know how to communicate well and who to call and how to talk to them for what you need. And then there were other fun days that, like for instance, there was the day on the Shield, and it was, sorry, spoiler alert, but Toby and Andrew's last day, and some of us decided to stay late and watch their last day, and they're shooting this scene, and it was so emotional because it was their very last of the film, and so you stay late and everybody's crying, and getting to say goodbye to these characters, because it felt like there was something really important we were doing. So I think it varies, but I would say for both of those days, start early and stay late. Yeah, thanks.
Shamim, as a set design, like what is your typical?
It's a little less chaotic as a set designer, I would say. We're slightly more in a bubble. We're kind of protected from all the drama for the most part. Sometimes it could be a little tedious and like as simple as, this is the plan and where do we put it in the stage, and like calling a spotting plan. Or sometimes it could be like something really cool where you have your own set that you kind of have to model and design, and you take it from as far, like from like, let's say the architecture, like the walls and the architecture of the film, of the set, all the way down to what screw heads you're gonna use, or what the detail in this corner is, or doorknob you're gonna use. And with the battle, I guess what we're having, the fun part is like, we have the art directors and the production designer, or the designer wants to make it cooler, make it bigger, make it nicer. And the artist's like, we can't afford that, no. We're on a budget, like, we're on a deadline. The construction's like, where's the drawings? So really, it's like trying to figure out how to kind of feed the designer, here's the design that you like. And the artist like, yeah, we're simplifying it, we're gonna make it happen. And that's basically, like, I would say day to day is easier. On a slightly level, but I guess that's all I had to say about it.
Tina?
Well, you know, my days can vary hugely. I work a little more office-based and less on the set, like Sam. I will work across, which we can get into later, but I work across many of the departments, so working with costume and all sorts of things, and I can be designing a huge, say, mural or something beautiful, but then also I can get, my day and ego will get slumped very quickly when someone says, we forgot to order the elevator buttons. Can you copy them exactly like this? And I need them in 3 hours. So there's a lot of, everyone thinks there's a lot of kind of sexy, beautiful work. There's a lot of mundane stuff that I have to do that is very unglamorous, but it's just as needed, and you have to, and you have to treat them as well as the lovely kind of beautiful jobs. That's the other thing. I would say my biggest thing is that I have to be a chameleon. So I have to sort of adapt to the environment, that whatever I'm working with. And everyone, I think, has to be a team player.
Yeah.
So that's important.
See, as a storyboard artist, I don't really have a typical day. Because when you do sequences, especially I do a lot of action sequences through spaces, I have to go to location. So, like recently, I was in Boston on fisherman boats, learning how to scallop, figuring out how to do stunts from boats, talking to the Marine Coastal Guard, coordinating. We were getting helicopters, trying to figure out how to shoot from there. So I'm talking to all these people. When I do like fight sequences, I go to the stage, and sometimes they do like either the poor man process, but they usually have the shell of the car, depending on what they're gonna do. I have to go see the car, go see the rig, go over camera equipment, see what kind of shots we could even plan to make sure it's even in the budget. Even when I do musicals, I have to go to all the sets, walk through all the spaces, know all the set plans. Sometimes I have to learn how to do stunts just so we can come up with logical ways to do it. So I got a little combat training in there. And other than that, then I have to rush home after being on location for like 10 hours, sometimes doing story meetings with directors that go into 6 to 8 hours. That happens a lot. And then in between all that, I'm trying to draw. So, yeah, that's probably what a typical week is.
How about you, Lauren?
Oh, let's see, last but not least. So, much like Sam, my day starts early, but I don't start as early as Sam. I start more like at 7 with a firm grip and a cup of coffee. I go to construction, see what they're up to, what mischief, what they need. Then quickly go back to the art department, check in with all the illustrators, set designers, what's going on. Shamim was at my, on Captain Marvel with me, so we collaborated a lot. But the great thing about art directing, I get to work with construction and paint and sculptors, special effects, visual effects. It runs the gamut, and it makes it really exciting. because you never know what you're going to be working on. Is it a trailer park? Is it a space station? You know, is it dinosaurs? I mean, I've gotten to work on so many cool things in all kinds of temperatures and conditions, from 130 degrees to below 10. So fortunately, that's not a typical day. But so after meeting with everybody, there's probably other meetings about fun things like schedules and budgets, and really kind of making the loop again, eventually ending up at my computer where I work later, probably till 7 when everybody else has gone home, if not later, just to get caught up on everything I need to do. On the flip side, as a set designer, like Shamim was saying, I can cruise in about 7 or 8, right? So you got a nice little desk, you go get the coffee, a little muffin or something. It's a calmer day. You're doing a lot more designing than you are as art directing. As an art director, you're helping guide that design, making sure the production designer is getting what they want out of everyone. But as a set designer, you get to I'm going to concentrate on this today. And hopefully they don't say, but now we need this. And so you're doing two things. But it's a calmer day. It's not like when I art direct and I get home and I'm like, I made it through another day. I did it. I'm home. And that's, yeah.
So my next question is for the art directors. I know that with a lot of the bigger features, an exciting development is the adaptation of technology that until recently has been pretty much used by visual effects in the video game industry. I mean, industries that aren't typically well known for being very female friendly. And so I want to give them a little bit of an idea of our secret plan to take that technology from and make it a fun space for us in the film industry. So as far as LiDAR and the Unreal Engine that I know that a lot of shows are starting to use now, do either of you work on shows where it incorporates that? And then along with that, with the green screens and stuff, what do you think is the most challenging and sort of freeing aspect of designing and building worlds that you don't build? It'll show up on screen, but we don't build them. Yeah. Lauren, did you want to start?
Oh dear. As far as all the technologies, I've used LiDAR, which just helps us with the set design, kind of getting on Captain Marvel, we used a huge quarry. And it'd be impossible for us to be able to map it out. So we hire a company that comes and does that for us so we can figure out how the set's going to sit in it. I have not explored Unreal Engine. I've dabbled in it a little bit, but it's a career unto itself, and I ain't got no time for that. I've gotten into working in CAD programs, things like that, but certainly a lot of Photoshop, a lot of photo editing. But I'm usually running around. I don't spend a ton of time at my computer as an art director. But I'm interested in all these technologies, and I know they're coming down the pike, and fascinated with the Star Wars world, working in what they call the volume. But I have not experienced that yet. That'd be fun.
I know that the last few shows have been very heavy in all of that. So if you don't know, LiDAR is a scanning that's a very high-end scan. The volume is something that I'm actually using now a little bit. And then we use it on Our Flag Means Death. So we did a little bit of a volume for that. And the volume is kind of like a digital backdrop. And like Lauren was saying, these technologies, Unreal Engine is a gaming engine, and we're using it so heavily now. The overlap between visual effects and art department is prevalent. And I find that everybody is starting to dabble in it, that I've noticed on the film I'm on now and on Guardians and Spider-Man, it's helpful. AR, assisted reality?
Augmented reality.
Augmented, thank you very much. Augmented reality, VR, these programs that we're using to help get a director into the space. So it used to be physical models, which sometimes we still do, it's really helpful, but sometimes be able to put on the glasses and have a director walk through the space, and they really get a sense of where they could put the camera, and it helps you understand where they want the camera. And I'm seeing that this technology is something I'd like to learn, and like Lauren said, to try and find the time to do it. It is a job in and of itself. So I do feel like I see in the future opportunities for people who come from a gaming world to help the art department, to help the visual effects department, like this overlap. We have a lot of people in the industry right now that are those wizards, and I'm getting to work with some of them, and they are insanely talented. So yes, I feel like it's all out there, and I would love to learn more, and I will somehow find the time.
So I have a bunch of questions, but I also want to leave enough time for people who want to. Are there people who want to ask questions? Yeah. Okay. So we got some questions. So I'm going to cut my stuff a little bit short and not like I send everyone the questions. I'll ask 2 more, and then we'll open it up. I hope so that we have enough time to answer our questions. If we don't, we're going to be at the autograph booth afterwards that you can come and ask your question directly. But something that's very important to me and something that I strive to do is finding my nerdy people. And so let's talk a little bit about that and mentorship. And would anyone on the panel like to talk about mentorship, whether you had a mentor, if you like your mentoring experience? Because I know that that's very near and dear to my heart as far as getting that. Sam, you're smiling at me like like you were like, yeah, I do.
I mean, right out the gate, it was not weird, but Lauren, I consider her one of my mentors.
Mine too, actually. She was one of my teachers when I was in film school.
Yeah,
Lauren does a lot.
Yeah, I learned a lot from her.
I'm so tired.
And I mean, I've never really told you this, but Lauren was one of the first female names I saw on a film that is near and dear to my heart, which is Jurassic Park. And that changed things for me. I think you don't really know that there's not an opportunity for you until you see somebody who's doing it, and then you go, oh, I can do this too? Like there's a female out there that's working with dinosaurs? And there was this whole behind the scenes thing that I saw in middle school, and that kicked that off. And I feel like my teachers that I had growing up, I have a few just off the top of my head, I know they were my mentors. And in college, I had 2 people. One was my architecture professor and one was my scenic painting professor. And they helped me grow and learn. And like you said, skill sets. I didn't know how to paint and draw. That's not something you learn, being born. So they really helped me. They wanted me to learn. And the other person that I know Lauren and I have gotten to work with is Michael Kornblith. He's a production designer that took me under his wing and for whatever reason saw something in me and helped me grow as well.
Awesomeness, that's what we saw, awesomeness.
Huh?
Awesomeness, that's what we saw.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, that's so nice.
I will say that Sam, in her own right, when I was in grad school, came to our showcase afterwards and was the first person to give me her card and was like, contact me. And I was like, yes, I will, thank you. And that's the way, we've not worked together, but you've recommended me for jobs and,
Yeah, I feel like it's such a nerdy girls, like growing up, I feel like I found my people in middle school. I had friends that, it's like, oh, you watch X-Files too? And same here. I feel like everybody has their thing, and we all talk about it, not just females, males, people of all races and of all genders that work in our industry. And we all, I feel like at our core, have something that, like what brings us here to Comic-Con. There's all something that we have that we love so dearly and that means so much to us. And that's why I got into this, I feel. Yeah.
Shamim, you have a mentor?
I think she said it all.
Yeah. It was Lauren.
Yeah, it was Lauren.
How about you, Tina?
I don't know if I have I started out in film in the UK, and I was given a chance one day on a commercial with a designer. It was my entry into the industry, and I had no idea how it worked or what was expected, and it clearly went well because I probably spent 5 years working for her nonstop, and she kind of was quite out there. She just did everything differently. She does fantastic films. Her name was Cave Quinn. and she really inspired me. And so I have to say, mentorship's a big thing for me. In the UK, especially when I started out, I would often be the only female in an art department, barring obviously PAs and all the usual. So it is something I do spend a lot of my time making sure I reply to every email, if I can, having a Zoom, helping people, especially with my skill set, wanting to kind of get further, because I also think it's kind of how you give back. And also there are many PAs I've spoken to who are now designing, you know, and you have to look after people and encourage the talent, I think.
So I'm going to ask one more question. We've got 15 minutes left. I see the sign. The one last question, it's a fun one before we get to audience questions. Is there anything that you've taken home, that you worked on, that you created on a show, that you took? I've got my stash of stuff that have gone missing from, that isn't inventoried.
This is being recorded, Kate.
Yeah.
What?
I'm not going to say. I'm going to have you guys say what it was that you took. And so that Marvel can track you down and find it. They inventory everything.
I know, Barry, don't kill us. I have two of the things. Why not? Because sometimes it goes in the trash, and I love keeping memorabilia. Not all of it. We try and reuse as much as we can. Because we built 2 exterior sanctums, the door knocker, and the basement Bleecker Street sign. And one of the other art directors who was on the film with me, Krista Maloney, brought the mug. It was her mug, if you know Doctor Strange's Over Fox's Sake.
Shamsi?
I hope I don't get in trouble about this one. So when I was in New Zealand and we were working on Lord of the Rings, me and a couple of guys went to Hobbiton, and I managed to go there actually with John Howe, who's a designer, and he got to go up everywhere by himself, and I was like, I'm with him. So I kind of managed to go through guys and get up there, and I took a couple of leaves off the tree. The big, and I still have those. That's what I did.
Tina?
I make other people steal for me.
Smart.
I fell in love with the mid-century upholstered lazy boy in Hawkeye, and next thing I knew, it was being delivered.
Furniture.
Furniture.
What do you got, Jasmine? What do you have?
I was about to talk about how I don't even take anything, but I just remembered all the furniture in my house. But besides that, usually since I do boards, like, I don't know, people just want to keep it, like when I draw stuff on set. And I think it's kind of cool because it's like later I'll talk to them on FaceTime and I can see like all my boards like in their home offices and stuff. So I just let everyone have everything. And I have something in the Dolly Parton Museum from that. Yeah, I did all the heartstring stuff. So like, they just had me signing stuff, so. Like.
Lauren, I know that you have stuff.
I got stuff. Yeah, not as much as you might think, but I kept one of the animal heads, the Seussian animal heads from How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I have one of those that was in Mayhew's house. And, sometimes random things. There was leftover marble on Forrest Gump, so that's my bathroom countertop now. And I kept a lot of things to teach with, samples of stuff to.
What about the whip?
Oh, the bullwhip?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but I didn't take that from the show. But I learned how to throw a mean bullwhip on Indiana Jones, so that was cool. That was good.
Okay, so that's all my questions. It was less than what I ordered, but get to talking. But who has a question? Yeah, you were very enthusiastic.
As I'm a film major at the moment, so I've been asking this at the panel at the moment. But what advice would you give incoming people into the industry, especially in the art department or whatever kind of section that you work with?
Advice getting in the industry.
Oh, from
Find what you love, get really good at it, because you'll spend a lot of time doing that.
Back that up 100%. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, just find what you love and just do it. And don't stop. Like, don't let anybody tell you, don't get into this industry or don't do it. So a lot of people do that, and they're kind of downers. And find that thing and like hold that really close and remind yourself whenever you might question whether it's worth it or if you're worth it, you are. Just remind yourself of that, why you're doing it.
Yeah, and be persistent too. It takes somewhere between persistence and stalking is that fine line you're trying to and keep, you have to keep after people. We get so busy. I know I get a lot of emails and I try to answer them, but on a show they just get quickly buried. So you can't take it personal if you don't get an immediate response, because we're out there, we're nice people, and we do try to encourage one another. I spent 20 years teaching at the American Film Institute, and it was so rewarding, and it was a lot of fun. And I get to see people that I taught, now successful. It's really great. So we're out there, keep at it.
I would say just be open to criticism, because I think like working in production, a lot of people just have say, so it's like sometimes people take it to heart because it's like everyone's kind of putting a little piece of themselves into the project, and you have to look at it as like, it's not personal. It's like everyone just wants to make the best movie that we can, and you have to understand that you might need to change a little bit to help make it look the best and be the best. So
It's
that's
collaborating.
Yeah.
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 Also, I mean, even if you get your first PA job, don't settle for what task they give you. Keep asking for more harder things, because when we don't have the responsibility, so you can learn and make mistakes and gain all the knowledge while you're still, just like PAing, and then they kind of see that you want to learn. They see that you're eager, and then they're gonna start giving you opportunities. That's how you stand out.
Yeah, so true. I was set designing on Pirates, and a lot of my contemporaries were becoming art directors. I'm like, well, nobody's asked me to art direct anything. I said, did you tell anybody you wanted to do that? I'm like, oh, okay.
And also too, like when I was a PA, I always kind of like would try to like talk to like the directors, like above line people, and I would just be like, hey, I want to do this job. What do you look for when you want to hire someone? And I was tailoring my portfolio around it. So every like month or two, I would just be like, hey, can I say my portfolio again? And then get their feedback, because I know I'm trying to work with this person and they're right here. So, and then that can help you build what you need to do.
I was going to say the same thing that Jasmine's just said, where people often ask for advice on, their portfolios. If I look at it, and you see there's a lacking of something just because of experience, I always tell them to make up those pieces. Fake it and say it's fake. Don't say it's but just show that you have the skills, because if you can't see it, people have no idea. So that's what I would say.
A lot of people don't think like you could do something unless they see you do it. Like people will call me like, can you draw clothes? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I gotta draw just the shirt just to prove it. Like, it's crazy.
I see you've been wanting to say something, ask a question.
First of all, I just want to say this is the best panel I've been to all year.
Oh, thank you.
I did not know how big of a fan I am of your guys' work. I didn't know anything about art directing going into this, and I'm just in awe of how talented you guys are and the work that art directors do. Kind of similar question. On a film set, whether it's on a student micro-budget film or multi-billion-dollar Marvel entity, what is the best thing that people working in other departments, whether it's directing or lighting, can do to support their art directors?
Communicate.
I was just like, talk to us.
Tell us what you want,
Yeah.
and tell us when you need it back.
I feel like I've worked with some incredible departments, and I love them. Just the grip department, who doesn't get a lot of credit sometimes, electric, construction, sculptors, painters, like these people are insanely talented too, and we all get to work together as a team. And I have found, because I was terrified of talking when I was a kid, and being able to go to these different departments and talk with them now is just the coolest thing. And they show you the coolest stuff. Like one of our fixtures guys was on Hawkeye, on Guardians, Sean Roberts, and he was showing me like the neon that they had used on Loki, like a certain kind of neon. And I was like, oh, show me all the things. Like, how did you guys do that? Like that, I find, yeah, it's like getting to nerd out with them. Sorry,
No, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's art directors right now.
Is it? Oh, yep, right there in the center. And then if we have enough time, I think we got 4 minutes. And then again, if we're going to be out in the sales pavilion for anyone, and we'll be right outside the door for a couple minutes too. If you've got somewhere else you got to be and want to tackle us and ask questions. Yes.
So, I've actually had someone at Paramount tell me I couldn't work with camera work because I was too short and I was too small and I was a girl. And so I ran with it. I was like, oh, okay. And like I can pick another career or whatever. I won't go into that. But is there anything that anybody has told you that you specifically said, like, either because you're a woman or just because, of whatever it is, that you taken and not listened to? Like,
Oh, not listen to? No, I can talk real quick about how I got into this, because I was PAing on a show and I was very new. I just moved here. I didn't know what a lead man was. And so the lead man on our show, I went up to him, and I was the only female in the art department, and so I got relegated. I did a lot of brooming and a lot of, I running errands and stuff. And I went to the lead man and I was like, so what's the difference between a PA and a lead man? And his response was to me, about $23 an hour, and walked away. And then I realized, I was like, I'm just gonna have to out-educate you. And and then, so yeah, I knew, I went back to school. I've got 3 cards. I set design, I graphic design, I art direct, because I am not a person that likes not knowing what I'm talking about before I talk. And so like in the construction being dismissed, I was like, I'm gonna get my set design card so that I know how to read a plan, and can I, don't have them explain it to me like this, you're wrong. I'm like, no, I'm not. I know what I'm doing. But that's just me. That was like the turning point where I was like, okay.
Yeah, when I was getting in the business, there weren't a lot of women in it yet, and I'd go down to stage with some of my drafting, set design. The guys would be sitting around at break, just talking, and I'd get the thanks, sweetie. We got it from here, and it's taken a lot of convincing and a lot more awesome women out there, and we're taking over.
So we got 2 minutes left. I want to thank everyone. If anyone has a short question, does anyone have a short question? 2-word answers. If not, we're going to be right outside. I don't want to make that. Oh yeah, you got.
You mentioned kind of like you taught at film school, or you went to film school. Yes. So what kind of, education might have to get you need to get into your field, get started?
You don't need. I have a master's degree from AFI, but I got that because I came out here and didn't know anything. My undergrad is in 3D animation. I got the degree and was like, nope, I don't want to do that. And so then
I got it only in undergrad, and I graduated with a film degree, but I went to the architecture and the theater departments, and I was like, teach me how to do these things. I feel like you can do it anywhere now. You could work from anywhere. I come from Texas. I was born in Colorado. And I moved to LA, but I meet people from all over the world who do this. There's a whole list of skill sets where I feel that I use those, but everybody's different.
Yeah, I think everybody, depends on what you end up doing. Some things you learn, some things like it's a skill set you pick up as a kid, like drawing but then for art directors, it does help a lot to know how to read a plan. So set design is a big part of it. So that's something you could also learn, but it does, because back in the day, there was a mentorship in the program. You get a job, you're PAing, the set designers teach you. We don't really have that as much. People are running fast and they're busy. So In that case, I think education does help. For us, was Lauren, and but we had someone like teaching. We had Lauren and Suzanne that both teaching us how to draw. But I mean, it all depends on what field you're going in the art department.
I feel like
And
learning.
I was a theater major at UCLA, and then I took one architectural drafting class, night class, and jumped in. I had a mentor I was working as a secretary at Lorimar, which is now Sony, and took that class, had the time to take that class, and since I was working with other set designers, they gave me little projects to do and redlined them, which taught me how to redline their drawings. So film school, it can give you a certain leg up, but it's not necessary. It's not a requirement. You gotta get your skill and jump in and be willing to take it on.
And there's so many classes online now. I mean, there's so many online classes you could take on how to read how to draw, how to use any of the programs. There's so many programs that we end up using
Still
for drawing.
doing that.
Yeah, we still learn every day. Rhino, Vectorworks, SketchUp. I
You're
mean,
always
it's all
learning,
Yeah.
always. Yeah. And if you're interested in working in film, I can't say enough. Go volunteer on a student film. Just see if you like it. See if you like the craziness, because it's crazy. It's fun.
Thanks, everyone. It's been great again. We'll hopefully do this again next year.